Okay, guys, I'm sorry I was away. I'm back from my hiatus. It's been a couple weeks since the last video, but I've been trying to re-energize, trying to take care of a lot of business. We have been terribly busy lately. In fact, I have a question for you. We heard all this talk before we are going to be in a recession or close to it, and a lot of things were just all upside down and sideways, but I'm not seeing that. Everywhere I go, people are out spending money, whether it's out at the club or at the bar or at the restaurant or at the store shopping. It's packed everywhere. So that begs the question, how bad is the economy right now? And why is everybody holding back so much? We always do this in election year, right? But the fantastic thing about my business here as a real estate agent in Southwest Florida is that we get relocation buyers primarily. But I'm going to tell you what the exciting thing is that's going on now. In the last month, we've had probably 6 to 8 different listing appointments that come from this channel. So I want to thank all of you that are watching, that are telling your friends, that are just taking the advice that we're providing, that helps you along this path in real estate, whether it's to buy or sell. But yeah, it's been terribly busy for us as well. And that's what's made it tough for me to get the time to be doing these videos for you. However, I know how important this is. I want to keep sharing this information. And just to tell you, we are busy to the point of just this week alone, we took 2 more listings and have 4 more buyers under contract. So if you're somebody that's serious about getting a property, when I say serious, I mean, are you committed to that process? You don't have to commit to a certain price level. You don't have to commit to any of the particulars. That's our job. We take care of those details. You just tell us where you want to be, what you want to live in, what your lifestyle is like, things you need to be close to, things you want to avoid. We go through a whole conversation with you and outline every detail so that when it's time to pull that trigger, we're ready to go. So if you're somebody that is looking to move to the Southwest Florida area or looking to move out of Southwest Florida area, go ahead, contact us. Again, phone call, text, email, Zoom. We have the mobile app. You can use any of those ways to contact us. We'd be happy to help you out, answer any questions you have. And heck, even if you're not ready to move on anything yet and you just have some basic questions, we'll help you with that too. Okay, so there's a lot of misinformation out there right now. We keep talking about this, but if you're on YouTube finding me, you're probably on YouTube finding these people. If it's real estate related, they probably pop up, but there's some particular individuals out there that consistently and constantly talk negativity in the real estate market. I know this is making it much more difficult for you to make decisions because you don't know who to believe, who to trust. In fact, one of our listings that we just took, that was one of the biggest problems. The people didn't know who they could trust. And Heidi, thank you so much for trusting in us, but I understand there's so many people out there that have different qualifications, different ways of communicating. They're either readily available or hardly available. And then you've got these guys out there on YouTube, they're spewing a bunch of crap. One of these instances was so bad that in the beginning of the video, he talked about how builders are walking away from construction sites, right? Just walking away from the homes, just leaving them. And it's here in Florida, so he wants to give us a little bashing. Every single state has pretty much been touched by this guy, but he loves to come back around to Florida all the time. And I'm going to tell you, the most interesting thing about this video is as he's walking down the street, continuing to talk, and right in the background, what are they doing? They're working on the house. So why would a builder and the title of your video be talking about builders walking away when they're right there working on it? Hey, you make your decision on what you want to believe. I tell you what I tell you, and I try to back every single thing up with some type of data, a story, something that has some kind of a validity to it, because I know I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I want to give the best information. That's how I'm going to earn your business and your trust, is to be upfront, be direct, not give you the fluff, but just tell you the real deal. So that's what we're going to do. And we're going to keep diving into this real estate market. So run along with me. Now, Realtor.com says that we have 11,110 listings in Cape Coral in May, this past May. I can't find it. I literally left a search completely wide open to every property type and came up with 4,204 total units. That is maybe a third of what you're reporting. This is how bad these reports are. So you really have to do your due diligence when you're trying to figure out who to believe, what stats are accurate or not. I mean, I get it. The market isn't what it was, but it's not this. 11,000 units? I don't think we've ever had 11,000 units on the market at the same time, even when it was the actual recession, back when the housing market crashed. But that's what's being reported. I'm showing you the real deal, the 4204. I just pulled that maybe within the last hour. So it's as accurate as can possibly be. And that's why using the MLS and using our tools is going to be most accurate for you, including that mobile app that we have. That feeds directly from our MLS system, and it allows you to do some pretty funky things. I'm going to be doing a video here in the next couple of weeks, again, explaining how some of the changes in this app can really help you go through your process and do your own custom searches and have it right in your hand and know it's coming right from the MLS. It's not delayed. All these other systems, because they're secondary websites, they have a delay. So if you want the accurate information, come along, we'll give it to you. Now, Florida does surpass the national median sale price at $420,000, according to the report. What did I find? $385,000. Not too much of a difference, but again, 385 to 420, that could be a difference of somebody buying a house and not buying a house, right? That's a little bit of a shift. $35,000. Not everybody has that differential to make up. So 385 is our median price right now. Yes, it's elevated from where it once was. However, it's showing that it is coming down slightly. It's giving a little relief. So it is still more of a buyer's market right now. And I will tell you, many of the sellers out there in our experience, and when we just put this home under contract 2 days ago for Bobby and Allison, we went to a property that just had a $25,000 price reduction, and we were able to get another 15 from them, including the furniture. So people are willing to wheel and deal right now. Some people, like these folks, happen to have already bought another property and needed to get out. They needed to move along. They needed to get the money out of the home so they could just live their next life in the next home. That doesn't always happen, but in this instance, it did. It's, again, another example of how you can still do well in this market. Don't expect it on every home, though. I will say that many of the very nice homes, you're not going to have that opportunity. There was one that we were going after the other day, and we found out there were other people that were interested. They were ready to put an offer in. We snapped to it. We put the offer in. We got it accepted right away. George, thank you again for trusting me on that. But George found an absolutely amazing property. Beautiful, beautiful home in a wonderful area of Fort Myers, right off of McGregor Boulevard. And he is going to be happy as a lark when he's in this place. The home fits him perfectly. It's close to all the things he wants. And that's my job. I want to put you in the best possible place for you and your family so that you thoroughly enjoy all of this wonder that we have around us. With these price adjustments, again, we're seeing maybe about a 5% adjustment in this particular case. And one of the things that really stuck out to me is there's a gentleman, he's the CEO of the National Builders Association, and he came in and said there's the number one market killer right now. There's no question about what it is. It's interest rates, because people got so used to the 3 and 4% that they just can't swallow this 6 to 7%, just over. I think we just slipped back under 7 again to 6.87. So it got a little more favorable, but once again, people are still so trained to think that, oh, the 3 and 4 will come back. Oh yeah, it's got to come back. Historically, that doesn't jive. It isn't going to be what's going to happen in this market. So what I would encourage you to do is what every other lender is encouraging people to do. If you need a home and you are not a renter, some people are renters, some aren't. Some don't want to pay a landlord. They want to invest in themselves. And if you're one of those people, go ahead, get the loan, get the home you want, get the best terms you can if it's affordable, and you can refinance later if that's even an opportunity. Rates might just keep going up. We don't know. Nobody has a crystal ball. So if somebody's out there telling you it's going to happen, be very careful what you're listening to. Now, there was a vacation home article where they're talking about Cape Coral having one of the highest vacancy rates in these rental homes. And it made me think, yeah, we're at 15.6% according to this article. The next closest city is 12.2. Problem with this is that, Florida, right? We're a vacation state. So we have a lot of homes here that are second homes, vacation homes, Airbnbs, VRBOs. Do you think that those situations have anything to do with rental vacancy? Hmm. Since we have seasons, I would say yes, because when we're out of season, that means those units are vacant, correct? Um, if somebody's not using their second home because they went back north, but they're going to leave it on the rental market so they could possibly make some money, that's also considered a vacancy, correct? Yeah. See, these stories, they are meant to show how bad the market is here so that people might think it more favorable to purchase or whatever the reason for the spin is. But I'm telling you right now, a story like this about vacancy and rental properties, what other place is going to have it like we are, except for maybe Arizona? Any place that has a lot of seasonal visitors, a lot of vacation thing going on, they're going to have higher rental vacancies just due to that fact. We can't keep them filled all year long. That's not the way it works. So disregard stories like this. If you want the true stats, again, I can pull it on just about any topic. So hit me up and I'd be glad to help. Now, when we're talking about vacation rentals and we're talking about the prices of things, we're seeing rental rates for these short-term rentals anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 on the lower end, all the way up to 20,000 for the most expensive place. Yeah, I know that sounds astronomical, and it would be astronomical to me. I could never do that or have in good conscience be able to do it. But that again is just because of the nature of what we have here. That particular property that's 20,000 is massive. So you'd probably be coming with you and a couple other families. But when we start talking prices and expensive things like this and higher dollar amounts, the next thing people turn to and love to turn to is the insurance rates, because that's the next story outside of housing prices. The next story we always hear about is, oh my gosh, the insurance rates, they're through the roof. Well, we're going to talk about that. So we know that weather concerns and insurance concerns are prevalent. Everybody's thinking about these days. So I'm going to talk to you real quick about assuming a flood insurance policy. Did you know that was possible? So Roy and Charlie, we're going to close on their home here shortly. And when Charlie was calling around to different places, she was finding that the insurance rates she was being offered were as high as $10,000. Now, the home they're buying, I believe we're in the 600s on the purchase price, but to be thinking $10,000, and that was just a flood policy. So what we did is we called the listing agent, found out if the flood insurance policy was assumable. They contacted the insurance company. They said yes. So that $10,000 quote that we had, do you know where we ended up? $1,800 for the year. Yes, 10,000 to 1,800. Wonderful thing, right? So be sure to ask if there is an assumable flood insurance policy. Most of them are. I can't guarantee all of them are, but I did speak to an insurance agent and she did say that the majority of those policies are assumable. And when you get grandfathered in, you basically just took over the policy and you'll just have the minor or small adjustments that would happen with most insurance policies. You're not going to have this massive jump that we're seeing from the 1800s to the 10,000s. So make sure you're doing your due diligence. Get on that insurance during your inspection period, because that is truly your due diligence period. That's when you have the chance to find out all the information you have to find out until you don't have any more time. Once that runs out, now you're in there, you're locked in, your escrow money is definitely at risk. So if you back out, you could lose it. Now, the reason that this insurance policy part is so very important is, can you imagine if you had to spend $10,000 in a flood policy? That might not allow you to qualify for your mortgage anymore. So if we need to really dig deep and get into the numbers, this is one of the first places we're going to go, because insurance does get put into your overall payment, and you still have debt ratios that you have to hit. So make sure that we're going through those steps and we're hitting up the insurance just as hard as everything else. The weather here in Florida is a topic that's brought up all the time. It's been in so many videos. I've talked about it a number of times. It gets very hot, really hot. I mean, like bake cookies in your window of your car hot. We also get a lot of rain. And lately we've started getting back into our rainy season. In fact, I've gone away the last 2 weekends trying to just get a little R&R, and both times the driving in the rain, I'm talking pouring driving rain. It gets very hard here in Florida, so much so that we have a lot of hydroplaning. There are plenty of accidents. So please, if you have 4-wheel drive, put it on the slippery setting. That's what I do. I have 9 different settings. That's the one I tend to use, get the 4 wheels kicking, so that when I take off from a light, I have at times already fishtailed, just taking off, because the torque that comes off those back tires, no weight in the back. Put your 4 wheel on, you'll be fine. You'll save yourself all the hydroplaning issues and concerns. But the rain down here, it can be just as bad as what people be dealing with snow up north. There's just that overall anxiety. People freak out. They're jumping on the brakes and they're doing all kinds of strange stuff. The speed in which they drive is ridiculous. You might as well get off to the side of the road and push the car. But that's what happens because many people are not used to driving in this kind of condition. It truly is something to experience if you haven't experienced it yet. Now, with all this rain, obviously flooding becomes an issue. We do have canals, retention areas, ponds, all kinds of places that water collects, especially off of US 41. There's a lot of storefronts, a lot of retail. So there are some drainage ditches that run all the way down US 41 and around. But these will get up to the top and sometimes spill over. And it's usually short-lived. I would say within a couple hours, at most 24 hours, but the water will recede. It goes away rather quickly. So don't panic or be too concerned. But I will say, if you know that that's something that's going to bother you, check the weather report, see what kind of weather's coming in. If you see the red, green, and yellow cells coming, and that red is predominant, you're going to get a major downpour, and there will be some sort of flooding. If you don't like to drive in that, you might just want to stay home. Now, on the flip side, we have droughts here. There are many months that we go without rain, our winter months. And what has happened most recently up until these rains started was some of our wells were running dry in the north. And when I say the north, I mean the North Cape. That's northeast, northwest. There's 2 different aquifers, and apparently one is a little bit more prone to drying up. If that happens, you can drill deeper. The cost of that can be anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 to drill that deeper. But when water's a necessity, you don't really have a lot of choices, do you? This is why the water sewer conversion is so important to have it done. Yes, it's expensive. Yes, there are programs being talked about right now to give grants to some residents to help them through that process, but the amount they're trying to pass on, it's less than $2,000 per household, so it's not going to go very far. However, it is some type of relief. If you do not want to deal with assessments whatsoever, then you need to look in the southeast or southwest where the conversion's already happened. And once the conversion's happened, many people like to have it paid off. And the age of the home is also going to tell you whether it's paid off, because they would have been paying on it for a longer period of time. But those assessments, they are there for a reason. Once this conversion happens, now wells running dry, things like that are no longer a problem. What is a problem is selling your home when you're having the assessments put in your neighborhood. I talked about this before with you about Kevin and his home. Well, guess what, guys? Kevin got real with himself and he decided to make a major adjustment to his asking price. And guess what? He is under contract. Congratulations, Kevin. I know it was a long run. I know it really stunk. I know this isn't where you wanted to be. It's not where I wanted you to be either. But the market is what the market is. I don't decide. Kevin doesn't decide. The buyers don't decide. The market decides. The market is going to tell us everything. So if you think you know what prices are going to do, ask the market. It'll give you a quick reality check. The one thing we hear all the time is the rising sea levels, right? And it's because everything's warming up, which, yeah, it's been god-awful warm these last few weeks. However, I don't think we're having any glaciers melting down here. And from what I found on this report, it says that we've had a total of 6-inch increase in sea level since 1902. Well, at that rate, with my elevation, not in the flood zone, yeah, I think I could die in this house. I don't think that's water's coming anywhere near me. And it's probably not coming anywhere near most people in Florida. So you can get over that scare of sea levels rising. Your beachfront place is going to go underwater. You're not going to have your investment anymore. Again, it's all the media BS that we continue to hear. You might as well post that story on YouTube too. You get a few thousand or a few 100,000 views, right? All right, so let's get back to vacation homes, because Florida is huge for vacation homes, and there's a reason behind it. Look at what we have here. Look at the ambiance. Look at behind me. It's amazing. It really is. No matter where you go on the coast, you can find places like this. So the coastal places definitely get the most attention. Yes, you can go to the center of the state and still get a lot of options there because obviously Disney's there and it's towards the center of the state. But they're mostly going to find the population on the coastal part of it. And there was a survey that was given us the top 5 reasons from Ameriprise. And when you're looking at a vacation home or vacation rental for yourself, these are probably some things you're going to be considering as well. So number 1 is the vacation destination. We've absolutely got that. The destination gives you the water, it gives you the beaches, it gives you the sunshine. So number 1, we definitely got that checked. Number 2, better weather, mostly. Well, yeah, we do have better weather than most other areas. Yes, it can be hot, but guess what? Guess what you'll find out? And this is fact. The closer you get to the coast, the nicer and cooler it gets. The breezes come off the water. There's nothing like trees and buildings blocking it. So you get that nice cooler breeze. I won't say cool because summer's still going to be hot no matter where you go, but the weather is mostly better. Rental income. Absolutely. You're going to make an income because people come here all year long. So if you have a rental property, this is why people are coming here. Cape Coral in particular, we do not have any HOAs in the majority of the city. So that allows you to rent that house as much as you want under your own terms. There is nobody regulating you, nobody telling you how to do it. And if you have a fantastic property, an idea of a fantastic property would be at least 3-bed, 2-bath, if not more bedrooms. If you can get an extra bathroom in there too, great. Pool is a must. If you're doing a vacation home, you got to have a pool on there to get your best rates. And if you can put it on some type of water, fresh water or salt water, that's an extra bonus. Now, I did speak to one of my advisors that is into the short-term rentals, and he shared with me there really is no difference in price between saltwater and freshwater because when you rent a boat here in Florida, it generally doesn't sit in the back of the house. You generally have to go to the place where you're renting it from to get it. So whether you can get to the home and away by boat isn't as important as what you would think. So the next thing to consider is primary residence in the future. This is another reason why rental homes are so prevalent in Florida. You need somewhere to retire, right? What are the number 1 and number 2 places in the US that you've heard of for retiring? Would you say Arizona and Florida? I know I've been thinking about Florida for most of my life before I moved down here because that's what you always heard. And you saw in all the movies, all the old people retire to Florida. Well, now we have a lot of young people coming here. Remote working certainly helped, but you need a place to retire to. So what's that home look like? I'm going to caution you on one thing. Don't think you're going to need a much smaller home when you retire because you're used to living in a bigger square footage. I've had some people come down, purchase a smaller, when I say smaller, 2-bed, 2-bath, 1,200 square feet villa or duplex. They call it a garden home. It's a half a duplex. So they buy that. And then when they make the full-time change, they realize 1,200 square feet is not going to cut it. So what do you have to do? You have to sell again, buy again. I don't mind. If you want to buy and sell 10 properties with me, that's fine. But if you want to save your money and make a great investment, I'd say go for that 3.2 plus 1,600 square feet plus, and that's going to fill more of your needs and make it that much easier to just keep using that home into your retirement years. And the last one would be a venue for gatherings. Well, if you were going to have a family reunion or meet up with family members, friends, whatever, where would you want to do that? I know a lot of people take cruises and go in the Caribbean and places like that. Well, we have the same kind of weather as they do. And the water's here. I mean, you can see a little bit of it here. It's kind of clear, but this isn't the good stuff. This is a bayside water here. If you go to the ocean side, the Gulf side, it's beautiful. Those waters do look much like the Caribbean, and we absolutely love boating out there because of it. So venue gathering with family, friends, and whoever, there aren't many better places that you can go in the US than Florida. So I use this Strategico, I think it is a place where they give information on different things like the cost of living. Here they reported a median home price of $531,000. Well, we already established it's $385,000, right? So way off on that number. The rent, they're showing it 1616. Nah, let's try 2200. So already missed on 2 numbers. The numbers that I've just told you that we're at, the 2200 for rentals, that's remained pretty unchanged for the last 12 months. So last year, we've seen very little fluctuation in rentals. And Eric, My cousin, who's now working with me here, he is renting a place here, and he found the same thing. That price, I think he's renting his place for like 2,300. So that's just where that median rental price is. Can you get cheaper? Sure. Will you have to do it in an area that might not be as nice? Possibly. Will you get fewer amenities? Pretty much. I mean, he happens to be in a gated communities, and it's a Gulf access condo, so that's pretty nice. But that's just again falling right into what the median is. Aside from food, everything else on the list comes down to personal lifestyle. What cell phone and plan you have, that's on you. What food you like to eat. I mean, maybe you're a lobster and steak person. That's going to be expensive. If you're ramen noodles and hot dogs, different story. See, you can see what I'm saying, man. You can choose how you want to do things personally. The car that you drive and the payment that's attached, personal decision. Insurances for auto insurance and things like that. Again, how safe do you drive? Some of us are a little faster than others, and some of us, drive differently. And, if you can avoid accidents and avoid tickets, then you can certainly keep those rates down. But a lot of times those rates also depend on credit score. So if you're responsible, you can keep those prices down. Health plans, tons of different health plans to go by, and not all of them need to be paid personally by you. It might be through your employer. I happen to have to pay mine personally. And your electric bill. If you like your air conditioning at 60 degrees or 65 degrees, you're going to have a pretty high electric bill. I'm somebody, I can live anywhere from 75 to 77 daytime and nighttime, and that's comfortable to me. Some people would be totally uncomfortable and need to be closer to that 68 mark, possibly. Anyway, those personal decisions will change your cost of living. So, cost of living in Florida might be slightly higher overall, but much of it comes down to your personal choices. Now, as you know, I have a boat, and I do like to go out on the boat often as I can. And one of the things I became very in tune with and aware of, as soon as I start heading out, I check the tide charts. I want to know, are we in high tide or low tide? That makes a big difference. I'm from Erie, Pennsylvania. So Lake Erie, we didn't have tidal changes. We didn't have that issue. I boated up there with my parents, so it wasn't really me responsible for it, but that's one thing I know is we didn't have the tidal changes. Down here, watching everything that goes on, watching how the sand just comes up out of the water out of nowhere, crazy, totally crazy. You'll see birds standing out in the middle of the harbor, and you're like, how in the hell are they standing out there? They're on a sandbar. They're out there all over the place. Stay between the markers. As you spend more time out there, you're going to have breadcrumbs drop by your GPS. But this is what happens if you don't pay attention to the tides and you don't watch your boat when you're out partying with your friends, maybe at the local sandbar, at the beach you pulled up on. It happens often. Pay attention. Otherwise, and I hope to God you have Sea-Tow or Tow USA, one of those, because it gets very, very costly to get pulled off of these sandbars and off these beaches. The policy is very inexpensive for the year. So I'm going to encourage you, if you're a boater and you're going to be out there for any amount of time, get the towing package. It is well worth it. And another thing that everybody's adjusting to here, and this is something that's just like, again, why didn't anybody tell me this? Well, I'm telling you right now, your traffic patterns are going to continue to change for the upcoming years. It's crazy. We're approving more and more of these multi-family buildings. Northeast Cape just got approved for another apartment building that's probably going to have 300 to 400 people in it, or 300 to 400 units in it. That's just going to add to, again, the traffic and congestion issues that we have already. Road widening is happening in certain areas. Other areas, we're just having to adjust to waiting at the lights longer, being more patient, which patience as a whole, I've been noticing with my time on the road, it's been lacking for many people. So I would just encourage everybody to understand this is what's happening. This is what's going to be. And you still get to live in this beautiful place, right? So what is the hurry? Unless you're trying to get to the place that you're going to relax in. All right. So these are things that people may not have been telling you. I'm telling you, hopefully this information came across as helpful, and it's something that will help you make decisions when you're considering your move to Florida. And if there's anything that we can do to help. And if you didn't find anything in these videos, any other information, then you've got to do what everyone else is doing. Call, text, and email, because we've got your back when moving to the Gulf Coast.